So, welcome, Herve Poncharal. I believe I referred to you in one thing as Red Bull GASGAS Tech 3 Empresario. I feel like there's a lot of words you can use. Owner, team principal, president of IRTA. Welcome back to the MotoGP podcast, Last on the Brakes. It's a pleasure to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here again with you, Francis.
Are you lying, or is that the truth?
I don't want to say I never lie, because everybody has lied at least once in his life, but no, this is not a lie. It's a pleasure to be here and a pleasure to be working and answering your question.
Thank you. I'll try and believe you. No, but first question, always the easiest one. How are you? We're at Misano. Pretty crazy season so far in a lot of ways. How is it going in Herve and Red Bull GASGAS Tech 3 world?
Honestly, this season has been a great season so far. Full of fun, full of things that were not expected, because clearly Pedro exceeding all expectation, even his own expectation.
You've brought him up so early.
Oh yes, and you know, even though in Valencia last year when we did you know, our first day with Pedro on a MotoGP bike, we could see that there was something special in between him and the MotoGP bike. Clicking early, like you know, behaving like if he's been on a MotoGP bike for quite a few days already. But clearly we never thought he was going to do what he has done so far. So the season has been, you know, I think life is always full of surprise. And when the surprises are positive surprise, you are just you're just happy. And now we're really happy, because we've been kind of suffering the past 2-3 seasons, and even though you love to be in the paddock, even though you love this life, you love to be part of the MotoGP circus, basically it's not so much fun when you are behind. But when you are targeting front row, when you are targeting potential podium, when you see your riders fighting for eventually leading position, nothing can beat that feeling. And I can tell you, it doesn't matter how many years you've been in there, this is always magic.
So is it still just as magic now? You've had success in the past, of course, although it was Miguel who brought you your first Premier Class win in the Styrian, wasn't it, by name?
Yes.
Styrian Grand Prix. And then jumped on the roof of the car. That was the prize. Which
Yes, I remember.
But yeah, obviously that was something the team had been searching for a while, but you've had plenty of success in classes before. Is it still magical even now?
Oh yes, and honestly, concerning me, the day I will have not this magical feeling anymore, I will be telling you bye-bye, au revoir, Francis. But no, the feeling is still the same, you know. And when I saw Pedro getting out of Q1 in Aragon, I was over the moon, because I knew the weekend was going to be potentially good. When I saw him taking the start he took in the sprint, when I saw him fighting for the top position, resisting to Brad attack, I am a 16 years old guy, full of praise, full of admiration for these guys, and the emotion is still there. You know, doesn't matter how old is your heart, as long as it beat and beat fast, you have fun and you have emotion.
I feel like Alberto Puig said something similar last week, even though you're obviously very different characters.
Oh, yes.
He said if you don't feel that anymore, it's time to go home, as a rider or as anything.
Yes. I think, you know, regarding Alberto, who is somebody I have been seeing for many seasons, but that I don't know really well, because he's very secret. I think
secret is a good word.
I think, you know, and this is what I was telling Jerry Burgess also when he was working with Valentino Rossi at some stage, and we were together with Yamaha. I told them, never be blasé, because some teams, some crew chief working with some special riders sometimes don't realize, because when you win every Sunday, it is like you know, mission accomplished, but job done. And I think now Alberto must understand that what he's been living, for example, with Marc Marquez during the glorious Repsol Honda day, he must be missing it incredibly, and he must be remembering, maybe I should have enjoyed them more. So we haven't got that kind of many successes that Alberto got. So the less you have, the more you enjoy when you have.
So, okay, we're going to come back to Pedro in a minute, but then I want to ask you, before we leave kind of that topic, Obviously, you were with Yamaha for quite some time. Very
20
successful,
consecutive seasons.
right? It was an incredible run together. Then how do you decide when you're in that position to make the leap into the unknown? Obviously, now we know it's great with KTM GASGAS, of course. This season, maybe they want to be a little bit further forward at times, but it's, you know, it's worked out very well for the team. You've had some great equipment. How do you dare to take that leap when the leap is on the table?
I like the word dare. And I think, as we just said before, to enjoy life, you must offer you surprises. And you must dare. And you must sometimes check the unknown. And you need to be open for challenges. This is good for the riders, but also for the team manager, the team owners. And you know, when something starts to slip, and it's also true in a couple, you know, you need to do things to make
a relationship.
Exactly. You know, you need to make them. You need to find the spices. And I didn't have anything to complain. You know, I had great 20 consecutive seasons with Yamaha. I will be forever thankful to what they gave us. We learned a lot. We enjoyed a lot. But it was a bit business as usual, year after year, you know. And we knew everyone, all of us, we knew what to do. We almost knew what was going to happen. And this is not my style, you know. I've been offered to work in a bank or in a post office. I rejected it. So this is
that will be one of the fun questions.
And you know, I saw the KTM boys at that time. You know, we have an expression in French: is la fleur au fusil. It means they were ready for anything. And I could see this small bunch of people full of passion. And a lot of people in the paddock say, oh, they are crazy, they will never manage with their steel chassis, with their crazy suspension, etc., etc. They will never make it. And I like crazy people. I like people who don't doubt. I like people who dare. And I like people who shoot the moon. And I went to see Pete Bayer straight away. He didn't know me, I didn't know him. And I told him, I want to work with you. And he said, oh, you're the best independent team. We were at that time. You are successful with your manufacturer. Why that? Because they didn't come to see me. I went to see them. And they didn't plan to have a satellite operation at that time. Or they thought maybe I need another 2-3 years. They were. And it was instant coup de foudre, instant love, you know. And I think what I told him was nothing special, but he enjoyed it. And I could see in his eyes that even though he didn't commit, it was going to happen. And, you know, I mean, this is how I see life, you know, challenge, dare, and shoot the moon.
Okay, so now I feel like that's a good point to go back to Pedro slightly.
He's shooting the moon too.
Right? I feel like he's got that similar thing. So I don't want to end up almost like a Pedro version of anyone who's ever met Valentino Rossi only ever gets asked about Valentino Rossi for the rest of their life. But obviously he's incredibly special. I'm sure a lot of people who've seen him come into MotoGP will be impressed, even just from this season. But his trajectory as well is just like instantly, like it was the second race in the World Championship he won from pit lane, and then won that World Championship, Moto2, top of the field again immediately, Championship, MotoGP. Looking at that, is he what you expected, or what did you expect when he arrived in the box? You know,
I had a lot of pressure on myself because I knew that young man and that special rider was going to ask for special support, for special treatment, and was not going to come to be doing a rookie season like everybody is explaining. A rookie season, you're here to learn, and that's it. And Pedro wants to learn, but in 15 minutes. The rest he wants to perform. So I didn't know if I would be at the level. And also this is an exciting thing because, you know, you are entering the unknown. And I like to be in the unknown because, you know, déjà vu is not interesting. So we had a great day in Valencia, Tuesday following the last race of 2023. And I was quite happy with our team, with the way we welcomed him, with the way we gave him support. And I could see from the feedback that not only he liked the bike, he liked the class, but he was happy also to work with our crew, which is also very important because obviously it's been 3 years with Aki. Most of the staff are Spanish. We also have a few Spanish, but not only, it's much more international. So you always doubt, because Pedro was only 19 when he was coming. He was for 3 years with this family, Ajo family, and that was a big challenge for me. And honestly, on Tuesday night, I don't want to say it was already mission accomplished or I've won the, my exam, or I passed my exam, but it was a good feeling. And then from that moment, we moved to Sepang for the pre-season test with the shakedown as he was a rookie and the test, and everything was fantastic. There was never any cloud. The sky was always full clear.
It was. I feel like the two biggest moments of that test that I remember are Marquez's facial expression when he came back in, and we luckily had the perfect camera angle when he turned around to his crew chief, and Pedro racing maybe is too strong, getting close to Maverick and deciding that he could keep up. It was an iconic debut even just on a test day. So obviously now it's not just, oh, he works well in the team, how special he is and everything else. You've also already had podiums, incredible results. So we'll go for our fan question, one of them earlier when we normally do them at the end. From X, formerly known as Twitter, the artist formerly known as Twitter. From Jimmy, who has a way too big username for me to read out. How do you rate Pedro's season, and when he will be a title contender? So I don't think it means just out of 10. I
think his season is 8.5, 9, it's very close to almost perfection as a rookie. I had a chat with him this morning, and we were talking about the Aragon weekend with the 2 podium, and he's told me, I want more, So I'm not so sure he would give himself 8.5, but I would say 8.5, 9, yes, because he's close to the best you can do as a rookie, especially at the moment the MotoGP class level is so high and close and competitive. Because some years it's not, but this year is unbelievable. So to do what he's doing with the level we're having in MotoGP class is fantastic. And the second part of the question was?
When will he be a title contender?
Sure, this year is not a title contender. And he knows, and we are telling him not to behave like a title contender, just learn, have fun, and prepare the following. But for me, from next year, he will be. But I'm not saying he will be the favorite, the hot favorite, but if you got 5 or 6 names that could be title contender, he will be inside these 5 or 6 names from 2025.
And he doesn't make a lot of mistakes either, right, for a rookie? I remember the one in France, threading the needle, was that in Le Mans?
Yes.
With the fantastic reactions that we got of Jorge Martin and Marc Marquez behind the podium, of Marc thinking he was going to make it and Jorge being like, no. That obviously is a standout one, lucky, gladly, everything in the end not so dramatic. Other than that though, okay, there've been tougher weekends, there've been real standout weekends, but are you impressed with the consistent level that he's had everywhere at such different tracks?
Yes. And when I'm saying he could be title contender from next year, it is because I'm impressed not only by his speed, but also by the way already he is mastering his weekends, by the consistency, by how good he is to share with his crew, how good his feedback is in order to help the bike to improve, but also to find the proper setting. Yes, I've been really impressed, and I think he's a rookie, so he still have a lot to learn, obviously. But when I really think what can he improve, it's not easy because he's already ticking most of the boxes at a quite high level.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? When you arrive when you're already
regarding
excellent.
the mistake, he doesn't do too many mistakes, and I don't like to talk about that because we're all superstitious, so I don't want to say too much. But coming back to Le Mans, nobody wants to say anything because he came back and he said, wow, what a shame, because I had a super feeling with this bike. The sprint was a bit difficult, but we modified and we worked on the setting, having learned what we learned during the sprint. And he said at the warm-up, the bike is fantastic. And from that moment, I think he set quite high target. I don't want to say what, but high target. And when he was, I think it was Marco or Digia, one of the VR, and Aleix Espargaro, he arrived at the garage there at the braking, and he was surprised. It was not a mistake. He was surprised, and he said to me, and nothing to offend the two riders, but he said, I was surprised because they brake too early. And because he was going on his own pace, and this is why he wanted to avoid them and not to take them with him.
Take the gap.
He went straight in the gravel bed, but was so much regret, because I think that day, that race could have been unbelievable. But this is part of the rookie season.
Has he got better at dealing with that? Because
Yes.
I remember when he was on this show last year in Australia, he was still annoyed about the 2022 French Grand Prix. No, 2023 French Grand Prix, sorry.
No, I think
Like 5 months later.
I think for sure you never like mistaken Pedro more than anyone. I think it was 2 weeks later or 3 weeks, 2 races later was Montmeló, Catalonia, and he did also a slight mistake. He was P2 following Jorge Martin, and he just went with a bit too much brake on a small bump, and he lost the front. And he was also very annoyed with himself. Jumped back on the bike. The bike was quite damaged, and he was lapping like the front runner, and he managed to come back into the points. But other than that, I think he learned a lot, and quickly of what's good, but also of his own mistakes. So.
Okay, well, we'll leave the Pedro chapter there. Obviously, he is in the press conference later as well. We may choose some of your illustrious phrases and put them to him. We'll see. But of course, new era as well for the team next year with new lineup, new colours as well. KTM back in orange. How are you feeling about that? Because that's another change. Obviously, Pedro will be alongside Brad in the factory team, so still in the Pira family. But another new mini era for Tech Trois and 2 new riders that you'll be welcoming. What are your thoughts?
Okay, I'm quite used to changing colors, because since I joined Pira Mobility, we change every year. So you can imagine that my trucks are very heavy now with the amount of paint we have.
As well.
And okay, quickly back to Pedro. To have such a talent is amazing, and you don't meet that too many times in your career. So of course, year one, even though it is delivering fantastic, is a rookie season, and on paper, it should be even better next year, year two. So you would like to share year two with him, because this year we are still in the process of learning. Next year we could deliver and maybe touch the Graal. And in a way this is a bit sad, but on the other side, I think I'm so much into the Pira Mobility project in MotoGP, and I so much want them to finally reach the goal they have, which is winning the title, the championship, that it makes sense for Pedro to move up to the factory team together with Brad. And of course, I think if we can have the lineup we have for next year, which is Enea Bastianini and Maverick Viñales, part of it is thanks to Pedro. Because I believe without Pedro showing what he showed, I believe without Pedro fighting with Maverick and with Enea quite a few races, and this is, when I spoke with them, why do you decide to talk to us and eventually to be willing to sign with us and work with us? They told me one of the things is they've been with Pedro and they saw what he could do with that bike, and they say, wow, I'd like to get on that bike. So I think Pedro showed what the RC16 can do. It has been seen and appreciated by both Enea and Maverick. So clearly he helped us. How do I feel? I feel privileged, I feel honored, because Enea Bastianini and Maverick Viñales are big names, are also title contenders. I know if they come, it's because so far none of them has won the MotoGP championship, but this is their target. They've been reassured, and it was confirmed to them that the status of the 4 riders, Binder, Acosta, Bastianini, Viñales, same level.
It's an incredible lineup.
Same colors. Everybody will have, as I said, the same technical package with the same evolution at the same time. And if one day there is an evolution or only for 2 because they haven't got them ready for that race, it will be the best placed man in the championship. So already this year we have that support, but you know, to have this incredible 4 riders lineup and to have the possibility to fight with the factory team, each single race, is a big challenge. But also, this is pressure on ourselves because Enea is coming from what is supposed to be and seen like the best technical package of the paddock. Maverick is coming with also a very good technical package. They both Grand Prix winner and they both, targeting the title. But this is our mission, to make them feel at home on that bike and with our team. And very often, the first day is very important, or the first few days, because you have a good feeling and you think everything is possible, or they think, wow, did I make a mistake to decide to join that bike and that team? So this is always a lot of pressure. You know, you want to prepare everything for them, but Pedro is Pedro, Enea is Enea, and Maverick is Maverick. So at the moment we are trying to talk to the entourage of the 2 riders to understand how they feel, what they want, what they would like, to give them all these small things that can make them feel at home from day one.
Okay, that's interesting. They're like,
and I like, you know, we always talk about technical tires, brake, engine, aero, devices, electronic, blah, blah, blah. But for me, what I enjoy a lot also is the human relationship. And you will always have to remember that a rider is not a robot. A rider is a man. And a man has feelings. And you need to give him the feelings he deserves. And everybody's different. So some rider don't need too much attention. Some rider needs to be cuddled all the time, you know. So this is very exciting, you know, to try to open the leather of the rider and see what's in his heart.
This is the thing as well, right? Because it is a very, like, compared to other motorsports at times, it's a very human sport in MotoGP still. Even just visually, you can see the human on the machine. It's not in a cockpit, there's nothing else, it's just right there. Absolutely,
and sometimes I love when the visor is not too dark, and with the slow motion, you know, you look at the eyes and you live with the riders.
You do. Okay, so we do have a couple more fan questions for you from Instagram, but first, I want to ask you, you said you've got plenty of different paint schemes that you've had as part of Peer Mobility. Yes. You also have a couple, as you have a second role in the paddock as president of IRTA, which for fans who don't know, what is that? Teams Association, what does that mean? In 100 words or less.
Impossible. You know, IRTA, which is the Racing Team Association, was created in 1986, so it's been here for quite a while. Was created, and I have to say a word, by a few people around, but one of the key figures was Mike Trimby, who passed away just 1 year ago at that venue. So I want to have a thought about that, and I want to think about Mike. Yeah, you know, when we started, Grand Prix racing was not MotoGP at that time, was quite amateur. And we needed a lot of things to be better prepared, you know. The priority was take care about the safety, because we were losing a lot of riders at that time, and that was mission 1. Take care of the safety, give the possibility to rider to race on a safer environment. Also have a better paddock, have enough electricity, water. Looks stupid to say that nowadays in 2024, but at that time was the thing. Have a box for each of us, have the possibility to work well, you know. So organize the passes system, organize the traveling in Europe, outside Europe. So all this was, there was nobody who was taking care of this, and everybody was a bit lost. And IRTA is taking care of the day-to-day life of each single team. Moto3, Moto2, MotoGP, MotoE, everybody. So, and we work hand in hand with the promoter, which is Dorna. And basically you got 4 bodies. You got the FIM, which is the right holder, International Federation. You got Dorna, who is a promoter. You got the MSMA, which is Manufacturer Association, and you got IRTA, which is the Team Association. And every decision are taken with the 4 bodies talking together. I represent the teams as IRTA. And this is during the Grand Prix Commission and everything regarding calendar, new circuit, evolution of the schedule, like when we introduced the sprint in 2023. Everything is discussed in between these four bodies, and I'm very proud. But proud is not like, I'm very honored more than proud to represent the whole paddock, because when I started to come here, first I was behind the fences looking at the people inside the paddock like they were supernatural people, Then I started in the paddock almost as a tire, fitter or things like that. And then I've been growing, I've been knowing all the people. And when at the end of your career or life, I don't know what to say, you feel...
Please let this not be a retirement announcement.
You feel honored, to represent all these people and to try to listen to them, share with them, and try to give them a better and an easier life.
Okay, so you've given us the perfect segue then, explaining the whole paddock. Very quick one that I said I was going to ask you. FIM and Dorna, contract extended till 2060. Why should fans care about that?
Because if MotoGP is what it is now, it is thank you to Dorna. And I want to mention
now
the
you're
CEO.
making it seem like I've really just paid you under
No,
the table.
no, you don't pay me. I don't need money. I don't care. Nobody's going to pay me. I always say what I think. So Dorna, and I want to mention the name of the CEO, which is Carmelo Espeleta. They have been taking care of the MotoGP championship, the MotoGP paddock, like their own child. The fact that the promoter, Dorna, is having such a good relationship with FIM, used to be Vito Ippolito, used to be forgot the one after Vito Ippolito.
The one after Vito,
yeah.
the one now, George.
No. Now, of course, it's Jorge
You
Viegas.
can't
Anyway,
forget George.
Jorge Viegas, of course, I know. I only know him, and we born the same year, so I know him very well. And what I want to say is the relationship in between the FIM, the federation, who is the right holder, and the promoter is fantastic. And thanks to this good understanding of each other, good relationship, which is not happening in every other sport, we can think and we can believe that this new agreement, which is a long-term agreement, is going to give us more and more of what we like. And if the paddock is as it is now, and if the championship is at this level, it's thanks to Dorna being in charge of the championship with such a good relationship with FIM.
Really want to make another joke about bribery, but I'm concerned people will take it more seriously.
Do it.
We'll make sure that money's dropped off in a bigger bag later. No, thank you for your kind words about that. But yeah, I think that can be interesting sometimes because it seems like quite a dry announcement sometimes for fans, but it's like, why is this relevant for people who are watching the sport? Because it is, and it's such a long-term thing.
Absolutely, and a lot of times success is coming from perennity. And I think if you want to achieve something, you need to build it, but build it together. And it wouldn't make sense, to zigzag.
It's true. Okay, so now we're going on to completely different topics with the remainder of our fan questions, which are from Instagram. So from Jay Jessler, not sure, we have, what would you do for a living if you weren't active in MotoGP? You mentioned earlier you turned down a bank.
Yes. No, I depends. If it's now, now I'm not the youngest guy anymore. But, I love nature. I love nature. I love to be in the nature. I live in a beautiful part of the world, by the Mediterranean Sea. I've got hills behind. I love to be swimming in the sea. I love to be riding my mountain bike in the forest. I love to sometimes just do nothing, lie down and watch the sky. Especially at night, when I talk to the stars. I told you I like to shoot the moon. I look at the moon. And, I think, Valentino was sun and moon. And I think all of us, we have this kind of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. We have two sides, and I'm really active. I like the craziness of the MotoGP lifestyle. I enjoy. And, but you also need something to compensate. And when I'm at home, I like to be quiet, go to bed early.
None of us believe you, but...
Okay. So, I don't know what I will do, but...
Is there no other job that you could ever consider?
I love the sport, and I love motorcycle racing on top of everything. But I also like to be an entrepreneur, and I like the challenge. So anything that was going to be like challenge, like dare, I love it. Doesn't matter which field of activity, which department.
Okay.
I like to, yeah, I like to challenge.
So next question, Big Monkey 46, great username. What was your
46,
favourite
I think,
race?
remind me something, 46.
I know something, I'm not sure. No pressure on the answer now. What was your favourite race you've ever witnessed?
I think it's my first victory. I have three. Give me three.
Fair enough.
The first one was Phillip Island when we won with our two rider, Nakano Jacques, and Jacques beat Nakano for 14,000 of a second. It was a fantastic achievement, and that was the last race of the year that gave us the title. that is an incredible race.
Good moment.
Incredible race. And I think, I don't know which level, but the first victory, as you mentioned, in Spielberg with Miguel. You know, I've been 20 consecutive years with Yamaha. We never ever won a MotoGP race, and I thought, okay, it's not for me. You know, I've won 125, I won 250, I won Moto2, MotoGP. I've done a few podiums, but I will never win a race. And I was a bit jealous of Lucio or of Gresini because they were independent and they were winning sometimes. And so when that day, when it happened, you cannot imagine the feeling, and also to be doing it at KTM and Red Bull. Home GP.
It's all the stars aligned.
Unbelievable. And you just feel you're the king of the the empire, the emperor of the world. You know? When that happens, you feel there is nothing better in the world, and the feeling you have is you cannot describe. And of course, last race of Miguel without him, first ever MotoGP race in Portugal. Portuguese rider being on pole, leading the race from the light out till the checkered flag, with all the big management of Pirot Mobility, including Stefan Pirot, Hubert Trunkenpolz right behind me. You can imagine the pressure and the explosion when finally he saw the checkered flag. So these three races are forever in my mind.
It's pretty incredible. I remember that day I can't imagine how that feels on a bike when you just lead from the front for that long and in that situation and on home turf.
But that race for me was so long.
Yeah,
because
like
when you're in front, you listen to the engine, you say, oh, strange noise. Oh, do we have enough fuel? Oh, do he do a mistake? Show him the gap, but don't show him too much, because so you have so much time to think.
Too much time, maybe.
Of all what could happen to steal you that victory. And it was a long race.
It didn't though, you got it. So the final one from F. Jimenez 92. What's one signing, any category, that you regret that you never made? Is there anyone where you're like,
I shouldn't have signed him?
No, the other way. Someone you should
have,
but you didn't take the chance.
Okay, there is one rider I think most of the team manager will always regret not to work with. And for me, this is Marc Marquez. But I never regret because it was never an opportunity. But I think, especially when Marc switched from Moto2 to MotoGP, I think the lucky one who was with him during his MotoGP rookie season, I would have liked to be that guy.
That's fair. That's a good answer. So that is all of our fan questions, and that means that is the end of our episode as well.
It's too short.
I know.
It's always too short with Francis.
This is a problem.
It's always too short, and she's inviting me once a year or sometimes once every 5 years.
Once every 5 years.
Yes.
I actually checked, and it was earlier in the 2023 season that we had you on, so you've had to wait more than a year, and I'm very sorry. Next year, if you want to start off, we can do
anyway, it's always a pleasure. And you know what? The only message I want to pass is we're happy, we're lucky to live this life. Everyone should be trying to think the positive of the life. And, you know, even though it's not fun every day, let's enjoy. Life is worth it, and life is worth it when it's fun.
And what is it that the sport always needs a little bit of, that you always say?
Rock and roll.
There we go. We'll stop on that note then. Thank you so much, Herve. And thanks everyone for listening.
Thanks to you.